Getting the Astros and the Rangers. You talked about the rivalry on the East Coast, the NL East, with the Astros advancing to their 7th consecutive ALCS. This is one of the greatest stretches we have seen in the history of sports in any league at any time. What we're seeing right now, it's the longest American League stretch of all time. They're topping their own record. They had the record last year, and it's now only trailing the Atlanta Braves, who did it 8 times in the NLCS. But this is the longest consecutive in the AL. 7 straight, Alex. It really is. I've said it before. People might be getting tired of it, but I'll say it again. The Astros are inevitable. Just listen. It just feels that way. If they can get into the playoffs, that's what it becomes. If you can get into the playoffs, the Astros are inevitable.
The thing is the Astros are the most experienced team in the playoffs right now. As you mentioned, 7 consecutive ALCS appearances. They've won 2 World Series within those 7 seasons. And let's talk about the players, too, because there's only 3 players that were on both of those World Series teams. But when you look at the team right now, the reigning World Series champion Astros, they basically have very similar roster that they did last year. A lot of the same guys that were in this exact same position last year are back on this team, and they know how to win in October.
I think what you said about the changeover from the very beginning till now is a lot, and from the last World Series to now isn't a lot. And I think for a team to have the sustained success that they have over the long haul, you have to do it how the Astros have done it, right? There is going to be a lot of changeover. And with that comes drafting right, doing those things, adding the right free agents. That's how it starts, right? But that's why we see so many windows in this league and across all sports that are short. That's the norm, right? You win a championship and you get out for a while. You know, it's in any sport. You get in the playoffs, you get close to it, then you get your championship, and then it feels like it just ends for a while. So the sustained success, that's not easy to say over and over, by the way, it comes from doing everything right, adding free agents, drafting correctly. And you start to feel that right now with the Orioles, right? It starts to feel like the beginning of their run for a while, but the Astros run just isn't ending. So nobody else can have their run because what they did back in 2017, if you remember, they built that core, and then they added Justin, right? And then they added some other pieces. And then they added a Garrett Cole, and then a Zach Greinke. So they had that core there, and they just kept adding to it. And now that young core that you had in 2017 has stayed with Altuve and Bregman, right? A couple of the others have moved on. But that core was there, and then you just built and drafted correctly. When one of those guys leaves and a Carlos Correa, guess what? We have this draft pick that we really believe a lot in. His name's Jeremy Pena. He's going to step in. And okay, we made this great trade with the Dodgers years ago. We're going to trade a relief pitcher for a guy named Yordan Alvarez. He's going to be a big part of our future. And then this young guy's going to come up, and Hunter Brown, and you look all around. Kyle Tucker. It's rinse, repeat with the Astros. And I know people might be getting bored of it, or they might hate the Astros. But what you have to do is respect what we're seeing right now, because this is the blueprint for how you win in a sport over a long period of time. They are the staple of that, and 7 in a row is one of the most remarkable things that we have seen in sports.
And one of those players that was on both of those World Series winning Astro teams was your brother. Now, he didn't start the season on the Astros. Obviously, he was on the Mets. That was their big trade deadline pickup, running it back again, a nice little reunion.
Yeah.
And he gave one of the more legendary speeches after they clinched, and it was after Dusty Baker kind of handed him the mic and said, I'm going to hold mine off till after the World Series. Here you go, Justin.
We were talking about it. We were live a little bit earlier for the Astros celebration, and you could tell they were waiting for Dusty to come into the locker room, right? So I was like, who's going to give the speech? I even said to you, they're probably waiting for Dusty. Bregman might give it, maybe Jose. And then all of a sudden, Dusty looks right at Justin and says, hey, you get up here. I'll give the World Series speech. You come out here. There was a good bit of language in this, but it was incredible, and we are going to play that for you right now.
No. I'm doing the World Series. You do this. Yeah. Point to Verlander. All right. Come on, man.
All right, shit. Boys, this is one of those seasons, nothing went our fucking way early. We battled through injuries.
Yeah.
We fucking grinded. I wasn't even fucking here. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
Seventh fucking time. All right? Don't take that for granted. On 7. Everybody pop these motherfuckers. 1, 2, 3.
On 7.
We grinded, and I wasn't even effing here is one of the best lines you will ever hear.
I mean, half of that, we weren't healthy, nothing was going our way. He wasn't on the team when that was happening. But it was great because he is such a big part of that franchise, and the team and the fans and everyone obviously wanted him back and just welcomed him with open arms, and he is. It is a we. Even though he wasn't there, he's always and still a part of that team.
I'm so happy for him, Alex, for my family. I mean, the second the game ends, I get my parents texting me of, what day do you land? When do you get into Houston? I'm so excited to see you. Just talked to Justin a little while ago and asked the same thing. And to see after the game when they were still out on the field, to see the smile on his face. I mean, what a year. And this hasn't been an easy year for him, right? Like, you sign with the Mets, you're fully expecting a 101 win team the year prior to be just as good and get into the playoffs with a better team. And all hell broke loose. I mean, it was a nightmare of a season.
Well, even for him as well, because he got hurt in spring training and wasn't really himself until kind of halfway through the season.
Yeah, so it was a tough start to the season. And then, everything that happened with the Mets happened, and it's kind of like, I guess I should get out of town.
Yeah.
By the way, Max Scherzer, one of those guys that left as well, Justin right after him, and now they're facing off in the ALCS. But, just an interesting year for Justin, and one that to see his smile down on the field after the game, to see the emotion in his face and to talk to him and to hear the emotion there. I'm so happy for him and so happy for the Astros, to be honest with you. Everybody, I am biased. Of course I am.
I know.
And just, the level of sustained success and to have my brother be a part of this again and to be at the ALCS and get to be there. It's emotional and it's really cool and never take it for granted for sure.
I mean, it's crazy. We are getting an AL West showdown in the ALCS, and this is the first time that the Rangers and the Astros have ever met in the playoffs. What are your expectations for this series?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
First time ever.
Ever.
So what I'm expecting in this series, Alex, I mentioned that, yes, I'm biased to the pitching side of this series, right? But what I'm expecting in this series is offense.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it. You got the Texas Rangers, they got tons of offense. You have the Houston Astros with tons of offense. In fact, in the regular season, the Rangers were 3rd and the Astros were 5th in terms of runs per game.
Yeah.
In terms of extra base hits, the Rangers were 7th and the Astros were 2nd. In terms of home runs, Rangers were tied for 3rd, the Astros were 7th. Batting average, Rangers 2nd, Astros 5th. So these two offenses in pretty much every category you look at, we're pretty much top 5 in baseball all regular season long. We talked about the Rangers at the beginning of the season and how their run differential was historically good.
Yeah.
And they've just continued that this year. It's been a roller coaster. They live and die by their offense, but right now the offense, they're living pretty well. The Houston Astros on the other side of things, you look up at the end of the regular season and it's like, dang, their offensive numbers were pretty good. And now you look in the postseason and they're tearing the cover off the ball. And now we're going to get two teams. And this is a really interesting matchup to me because you have the Texas Rangers, who are one of the best teams in baseball at home. They have the second most home runs at home in all of baseball. And the Astros have the second most home runs in all of baseball on the road. So you have a really good team in the Rangers, score the most runs in baseball at home, and a team in the Astros that's really, really good on the road. And that's what I'm so excited about for this matchup. It's really those matchups we're going to get in Dallas. The series is obviously starting in Houston, but we're going to get a lot of offense, Alex. And there's some stars everywhere you look. But you asked me what I'm excited for and what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
I'm expecting some runs.